Hello and welcome back to GFNY Europe 2021, Getting to Europe for the Cycling Experience of a Lifetime. This is part three. I am Chris Geiser, and a little bit about me before we get into it. I am a GFNY ambassador, a member of Grupo Sportivo GFNY since 2019. I've done 15 GFNY races in countries all over the world: South America, Europe, Mexico, and of course here in the US. Watch this video if you're exploring a trip to GFNY Europe to race in 2021. If you've not traveled extensively to Europe and just need a few tips, if you've traveled to Europe and need to understand the new normal associated with travel, or if you just really need the easy button to finding the resources you need to be able to travel with some confidence, or if you need to understand the hows and whys of things like regional connections. Now, today we're going to get into something that's a little bit more practical for the racing, and that's checking out the courses. This section will actually help you understand the gear that you need and understand how you can approach these courses so that you'll be successful and so that you'll have the best experience of your life riding in Europe with GFNY. Later in the series, we'll talk about planning transfers and post-race travel, where to stay, GFNY hotels and easy alternatives, what to bring, packing for success and enjoyment, and essential resources. We'll do that all along the way, provide those essential resources, but we'll do a special episode that wraps them all together. So, first things first, we've gone over this in the first two episodes. Get ready to pack. Europe is open. France and Italy are both open to U.S. visitors. Some conditions apply, but they are easy solves. We'll check them out. The races are on for GFNY Alps Foggini, August 29th, GFNY Italia, October 17th, and of course, next summer, GFNY Grand Ballon, July 10th. So the documents that you'll need, let's just go through the checklist really quickly. Passport, make sure it's current, no more than 6 months until expiration. Your health form or UCI license, meaning that you have to have a doctor checkup or you have to have an international UCI racing license to satisfy the requirements of each of the federations in France and Italy. Your vaccination card or vaccination passport, you must be vaccinated to travel to France or Italy from the USA. Finally, a COVID PCR test 72 hours or 3 calendar days before traveling from the USA. I would recommend that you keep an electronic as well as multiple printed copies of the test results so that you have them available with you at all times. Some considerations: know the COVID rules on the connecting cities and countries that you may travel through. For instance, I recently traveled to France through Portugal and found that Portugal was the more stringent of the checks that I went through, both through the airline and some of the federal officials there in Portugal. Get a COVID PCR test in time for the results to be available when you fly, but close enough to fall within the 72-hour pre-flight window. It should be noted that the window for PCR tests for Italy is actually 48 hours. Plan a location for a test prior to leaving Europe. You're going to need that to get back into the US. Okay, know before you go. USA is considered the orange zone. France and Italy require your proof of vaccination, a negative COVID test for France, 72 hours, like we said. Italy, 48 hours. Proof of recovery from COVID and completion of a required self-isolation. You'll also be required to fill out something called the European Digital Passport or Passenger Locator Form, which will be the contact tracing provided by your airline. The only thing that they do with that data is actually make sure that if somebody on the plane is exposed to COVID, that they have the means to contact you. They don't use that information or data for anything else. So some easy resources here on Italy, on the passenger locator form, and then also about finding the French embassy. The best place to start is to go to the US State Department website, and that will actually provide you with travel advisories for whatever country it is that you'd like to visit. It's a good habit to get into no matter what country you're traveling to, not just Europe. So, your guide to GFNY Alps Foggini, since that's the first race up, August 29th, 2021. So, GFNY Alps Foggini is a really difficult race. It's a challenging race, 75 miles. So it's relatively short, only 120 kilometers, 75 miles, but it does have 13,081 feet of climbing or 3,987 meters. There are two major climbs, the Col de Croix de Fer and the Col de Glandon. The Col de la Croix de Fer means the cross of iron, and the Col de Glandon I'm not sure what it's named for, but it's nearby to the Col de Croix de Fer, and it's actually the second significant what's called HC category or horse category without category climb on this race. And then of course you have the climb back into the town of Vaugeny at the end of the race. So make sure you leave something in the tank for that. So quick look at the course. And you can find this by going to the Ride with GPS link that you can find at france.gfny.com. You can see here the Col de Croix de Fer is quite long and probably about 15 miles long with about 4,900 feet of elevation. So that's actually a significant climb and something that is going to take a significant amount of time within your day unless you are, close to elite amateur or pro racer. The second, the Col de Glandon, is about 13 miles long or just a little over 21K. Each of these has a significant amount of descending that go in between. So the descents in this area are actually quite technical and do require that you put a lot of care into it. So some tips for success. You want to arrive early and be there for the camp. This will allow you to acclimate, get your legs ready. Each day the camp will cover one major climb and kind of put it in the legs. You can climb the other climbs in the area with the camp like Alpe d'Huez, Galibier, Col de Glandon, Col de Croix de Fer. So all of these climbs are available to you. It's actually a great area to do a cycling bucket list where you can probably cross off 50% of the climbs that you would want to do that you've seen covered in the world tours. So one major climb per day. It's not that the camp is there to wear you out, but it's actually there to actually start to acclimate you to the terrain, to understand what it's like to commit to a climb of over an hour, and then learn the descending techniques that build the confidence. Right, so you'll get faster and more proficient with those descents, much like I did by the time I left Vaugeny just this past June. And each climb will help you to know what to expect. Most of all, you get to soak in the beauty and the majesty of the French Alps. I mean, the scenery in these towns and across these mountain passes is just absolutely breathtaking and like nowhere else in the world. Moving on, more tips for success. Bring the right bike. You want to have a relaxed geometry that's ready for climbing, the appropriate gearing, probably somewhere between 29 and 32 in the back, and somewhere below a 52-36 in the front. 25 millimeter tires will get it done all season, nothing special. You probably have those tires on your bike right now. It's important to hydrate and eat. Keep yourself constantly topped up and make sure that you bring the nutrition and hydration materials that you prefer to use in your home country because they may not be available to you in France. Pace, pace, pace. Do not try to outride your training. It's probably a common mistake to think to yourself that I can climb this quickly and I can keep going, and if I the faster I climb it, the faster it's over, the faster I'm to the top. And that's good conventional wisdom if you're doing about half this amount of climbing, if you're doing about 7,000 feet of climbing. But for 13,000 feet of climbing, you'll really want to set in and pace yourself and make sure that you stay somewhere, within a reasonable limit of your threshold, whether you measure that by cadence or by heart rate or by wattage. You'll want to make sure that you're staying in a reasonable range that you can maintain throughout the day. Lastly, set your expectations. Each climb is going to take at least 1.5 to 2 hours to complete if you're pacing and not racing. So, like we said before, pack your preferred nutrition and hydration with you just in case, and always have a rain jacket or a vest for descending. The rain jacket is actually a good idea just in case for the Alps, because if the weather is a little bit changeable and a quick rainstorm does blow through, you want to make sure that you stay warm and dry, especially if you're getting ready to descend. Lastly, just don't forget to enjoy it. It's a great ride, it's a great course, and it's a great area of the world to be in. And it's a great first race to do back from all of the travel restrictions that we've had over the past year. So we're going to move on now to GFNY Italia. Your guide to GFNY Italia starts with all of the same COVID related rules about having the right documentation, making sure that you have a test, making sure that your test is done 48 hours in advance of you traveling and that it's dated as such. Uh, the UCI or health form also applies in Italy, so make sure that you have that buttoned up. The GFNY Italia race is also very challenging, maybe not as challenging as the Alps Fourgany race, 67 miles. So again, it's short, but it packs a wallop. There's, nearly 6,500 feet or 1,978 meters of climbing, constant climbing, some steep. So it's worth noting that you'll be doing a lot of climbing throughout the day. So you'll have a lot of ups and downs. It'll be a little bit more roller coaster than Alps Fourgany, but you'll keep on climbing throughout the day and you should be ready for that. In addition, there are 3 sectors of Strade Bianche or white roads that are made of limestone gravel. So uh, don't be too stressed out about the white roads or the limestone gravel. It's actually very manageable on a road bike and not anything that you should be worried about. It's also one of the things that makes the GFNY Italia experience unique and authentic to the part of Italy that you'll be traveling in, which is the sister cities of Montepulciano and Torrita di Siena. Some tips for success: arrive early, be there for the camp. Just like with Alps Fourgany, you want to see the majority of the course throughout the camp days. One of the best parts of the GFNY Italia camp is learning the techniques for success on the Strade Bianche. That includes positioning, turning, lateral movement, gearing. Everybody was expressing a little bit of concern that hadn't raced on gravel before about what it might mean to race on the famed Strade Bianche roads of Tuscany. And with Mirko's instruction and a support car, we were armed with everything that we needed to be able to navigate those roads on race day. We had gone over the Strade Bianche roads at least 3 times during the camp, which by the time race day came made it very manageable and made everybody very confident. Conquer the major climbs and know what to expect on race day is another tip. As part of the camp, you'll go up all of the major steep climbs within the Montepulciano area. And the funny thing about Tuscany is that every course is going to be a descent to start, ride in the valley, do some climbing, and then climb back to whatever city that you started in. They're all built into hills, and so you'll always be coming back to a hill. So knowing what to expect and knowing how to take those climbs, what to leave in the tank, those are just part of the success tips that you'll need to do well at GFNY Italia. Lastly, experience all the beauty and culture of Tuscany. The camp will give you enough time to go exploring, whether that's on or off the bike. Experience great food, great people, great wine. More tips for success. Again, bring the right bike. Maybe this is the one to leave the aero frame at home for, but you don't need or want a gravel bike. 25 or 28 millimeter tires on your road bike will get it done. That said, I would use good tires, not racing tires, but durable tires like Continental Four Season or something of that type of tire that's got some kind of Kevlar or Teflon. That's a really durable tire that you would use maybe in the winter time back here in the States. And then bring gearing that'll allow you to climb all day and climb double digit grades. Now, when I did this, I did it on a 5339, and some of those climbs were really hard on that. That said, I was able to get up all of those climbs without having to get off the bike on race day. So just bring what you're comfortable with or bring what you know you can handle for a full day of climbing. Finally, set your expectations. The climbs are steep, but not too long. The descents can be technical, but not overly so. They're not going to be technical like they are in the Alps. It can get hot in Tuscany, but just in case, it can also get cool. Have some layers available in your suitcase just in case. Pack your own preferred nutrition and hydration with you just in case as well. And don't forget to enjoy it. Like we said with everything, it's all about making sure that you're enjoying the ride. So to sum up, get ready for some challenging but exciting cycling, the cycling trip of a lifetime to either of these fabulous locations, or both, who knows? Get to the camps and build confidence on the nuances of their respective courses. The camps concentrate on adding tools and having fun and allowing you to acclimate to the conditions. So, whether that means descending a switchback in the French Alps or whether that means being on the Strada Bianchi, either one of those means that you're going to build confidence and you're going to go home with new cycling skills, new bike handling skills, um, or with newfound strength and confidence in what you're able to do with climbing. Bring the right gear. These might not be the best races for your super aero bike and your deep dish wheels, so bring gearing that will allow you to climb and spin and tires that will hold up. Dial in your nutrition and your hydration. I cannot overemphasize this. Bring supplies of what works for you and stay topped up and hydrated at all times during the race. You will burn energy extremely quickly on these races, especially in the Alps. Pack for the weather. Layers for Italy, and make sure you have a good rain jacket and or a vest for the Alps. So let's get registered. Head over to gfny.cc, which is your link to registration for all things GFNY. Group rides, races, special events like GFNY Day coming up here in mid-August. Sign up for the race here as well as accessing your GFNY rider profile and all things GFNY, including your results. Lastly, let's not forget that health form. It's required by the European country federations, France, Italy, Portugal. You'll need verification from your doctor that you're fit to race, or you can get an international license available from USA Cycling, available for an extra fee on top of your regular USA Cycling racing license. And it pays for itself after 2 European races in comparison with doctor visits, and it's renewable each year. It's available digitally, as you can see here, or in paper form. It's usually available from USA Cycling within 48 hours of sign up. So just go over to usacycling.org and you can add that to your USA Cycling profile. Next up, we'll cover where to stay. GFNY hotels, which are always great because we get great rates from GFNY, as well as GFNY hotels being carefully screened so that they know how to treat cyclists. Airbnb, other options, finding the right place, or traveling with a group. So thanks for watching. I hope this has been helpful. Please reach out to Chris at gfny.com with any questions.